Good Wednesday morning of the 23rd week. This is in Corinthians 7th chapter. This is controversial, okay? And let me show you something. The Gospels are always written within the context of their world experience, you see. That's why it requires a very real, what they call a hermeneutic, an interpretation of it. Because you got to understand, what were they thinking at the time? Because it evolves, see? Even in the scriptures, it evolves. It's not patent. It's developmental. Maybe that's the right word. Well, I'll read it to you and you'll see it. It says, brothers and sisters, in regard to virgins, I have no commandment from the Lord, but I give my opinion as one who by the Lord's mercy is trustworthy. So he's a leader. And I said, okay, I don't have any command by God's, but I'll give it a shot. Let me give it a shot. So this is what I think best because of the present distress. He's thinking the end of the world is coming now. You got to see that. That was one of the great learning curves of the early church. They kept expecting the last judgment any day now. And as the people got martyred and all the rest, they began to see, gee, maybe it isn't coming right away. But at that time, Paul's writing to the Corinthians. He obviously thinks it's very close. Now I'll show it to you. See? So it makes a hell of a difference, no pun intended. It makes a tremendous difference whether the last judgment in the coming is in the next 4 hours, or if it isn't coming for forever, as it were. But what's important is Christ is coming at every second. That's what they'd had to learn. That the last judgment, strangely enough, was not a last judgment. It was a judgment every moment when Christ comes to us in the moment by how we live our lives. Christ is present in the living of our lives as we live according to what we have called to be. See? Now watch him say it. See? He doesn't even know what he's saying yet. He's saying it. He's stumbling, trying to figure it out just like I am. See? Okay? Watch this. So this is what I think best because of the present distress. That it is a good thing for a person to remain as he is. Why? Because you don't know it's going to all come into an end any second now. So just do what you're doing. See? What was the famous Saint Francis, I think? They said to him, if you knew the end of the world was coming right away, what would you do? He said, I'd keep doing what I'm doing. That's right. That's a great test of your life. If you ever want to test it, say, if Christ were coming right now, what would you do? Hopefully you'd say, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. See, watch what he says here, okay? Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek a separation. Are you free of a wife? I guess they didn't like women. Then do not look for a wife. What's the matter with you? If you marry, however, you do not sin. Nor does an unmarried woman sin if she marries. But such people will experience affliction in their earthly life. And I would like to spare you that. There's a bite into that. You see, it ain't easy being married. You know what I mean? That's what he said. He was a married man. I'm pretty sure Paul was married. Peter certainly was. I tell you, brothers, the time is running out. From now on, let those having wives act as not having them, those weeping as not weeping, those rejoicing as not rejoicing, those buying as not owning, those using the world as not using it fully. For the world in its present form is passing away. Well, it's still passing away, you see. The letter to Corinthians is early. And I think I told you that they're anticipating the end of the world any time. What we learned is God in Christ comes to us in the ongoingness of life. In it ongoing, as we go along, Christ comes in every moment of our lives in which we are challenged by life itself, and that we do the good and moral thing. We are good parents. We are good husbands and wives. Good clergy. How? In some kind of artificial way? No. Looking out for each other. Bringing home the paycheck, as it were. Looking out, taking care of the kids. One of the great lessons, I really learned this very much so at the parish when I first came here 53 years ago. I didn't know why I wouldn't have known it before. It's beyond me. But I saw it at Timmy's, St. Tim's, now St. Mark's. I saw it on, I told you that, I saw it on the ball field. I saw it in the Ladies Guild. I saw them sewing and doing this. I saw them working for the church and each other. The coaching on the ball field, taking these second graders and teaching them how to play baseball or soccer. I saw the life of the church. See? Ordinary people looking out for each other, fulfilling their vocation as Christian mothers and fathers and uncles and aunts, grandparents, taking care of each other. You want to see the life of the church? You'll see it in a parish. Now the monasteries have their own version of it. It's an intensified form of it. But the truth is, you want to really see it? You'll see it in the parish. You'll see it in the community. Highly diverse, vast differences in age and circumstance, financial and otherwise, yet in some ways believing and acting together as a community in support of each other. I saw that. I still see it. But I especially saw it when I came here in 1971. The reason was I came out of 12 years in the monastery. I didn't see it. I saw it there in a uniquely monastic form. I'm not taking anything away from it. I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for that. I love monasticism. It's silence, it's power, it's beauty. But I saw the church is alive in the parish. It's alive with fathers coaching their sons, wives, mothers, in many ways coaching their daughters, or teaching, or catechists. I don't know how to say it. The life of a parish. And St. Mark's, at the time St. Tim's, you had to be there to see its vitality. You had to see it. And you say, this is the church. This is the church. On the ball fields, in the church yourself worshiping. And you see the kids forming a community among themselves. I told you the story. I'd be doing philosophy, sitting in my room and looking out the window, and I'd see kids playing soccer or street hockey on the parking lot. See? The church provided a venue, and a venue for kids getting together in a safe way. That's the life of the faith. It's lived in the streets. It's lived in the community. It's lived in the home. People getting together, looking out for each other. Kids playing together. That's sacred. That's so holy. That's the truth. That is the truth. And I learned that here. I didn't bring that here. I found it here. I was a snob, an elitist. I thought the heart in Christianity, you want to really see it, you got to see the monks. Nah, you got to see it, the old man on the ball field teaching his kid how to play soccer. You got to see mom teaching their kids, teaching her kids, boys and girls, how to get along, how to do this, how to do that. Women's club was so magnificent. I don't know if it still is. I'm not as involved. But what a community. When they went out to raise money, they raised it by the barrel for the parish. There wasn't a selfish one among them. No. The heart and soul of the faith was lived on the streets on Union Road, Indian Hills. Yeah, that's the truth. I learned that there. And I still treasure those memories. I treasure that community of faith, love, friendship, sports, and everything you could throw at it. Yeah, and I think it still exists. I'm just not close to it, even though I say Master every day. Not as close to it as once. I lived there. I lived in the rectory, and that's when you learn it, because you're right out there all the time. I remember the pastor, Joe Cronin, saying, go out to meet the people, go out in the ball fields, there's nothing for you in the rectory, and he was right. And I went out, and it was the Dick Heinrichs and that gang, oh God, that gang, the Pierres, all that gang. And then my other friends, not in the ball fields, but in all the other organizations. That's where I met June and Bill, lifelong friends, many of whom are now gone. But I live in their spirit. They formed the parish. And in some ways, they really strengthened my faith.